Welcome back. In the last lesson, we looked at how we can collect records from more than one table and return a result set with the records across tables using a common predicate. We used the inner join statement to achieve this. In this lesson, we're going to go further to look at how we can group data and filter the result set from that grouped record. My name is Mildred. Now, our last example is to get the customer detail from the customer table and then the payments detail from the payment table and return this in one result set. And we said that what if we want to get the total amount paid by each customer instead of returning duplicate payments like this? So we can change our query to say select. So we'll select customer name. Now we want to use the sum aggregate function to say the sum of the amounts. So the payments table doesn't have customer name but has customer number. So let's say select customer number, sum amount as total. Let's say as total spent. Let's say total spent from payments like this, group by customer number. So now we are not returning this across tables. We are going to look at how we do that shortly. But let's start by grouping this result set to get just the total amount that is paid by a particular customer. So we want it to add everything from a customer. So we just want to return just the customer number and the total spent, and that is going to be a sum of all of the amounts from this payment table. All right. So we are grouping this by the customer number. So you see every customer number is returned just once. 103 total spent, 112 total spent. All right. So this is as simple as we can use the group by clause. What if we want to use it in our previous join statement to get the total amount spent by each customer, and we want to return both the customer name from the customer's table in addition to all of this? So we'll go back to our previous query. Select a.customer number. We want the name to a.customer name. Then we want the sum of the amount. Now is b.amount. And so we'll say as total spent from, now customers is a. So we'll say from customers, a, inner join, payments, b, on, let's say on a dot customer number is equal to b dot customer number, and we're going to be grouping by a dot customer number. Okay, like that. So I'm going to make this to fit in one line so you can see it properly. So what we did here is to use the select statement to get these rows of information across several table columns. So we want to do what we did in the previous lesson where we use join, and we want to get the customer number and customer name from the customer's table and get the total amount spent by that customer from the payments table. And the common predicate for these tables is the customer number, and for us to get the sum we have to group, and so we use the group by clause here to say we are grouping by the customer number. So a customer paid particular amount on a particular day, that amount is logged. The same customer paid for something else on another day is logged. You just want to get the total of all the amounts paid by this customer. So when I run this, I will get the customer number, the customer name, and the total spent. So you can do this and use further aggregate function like mean and max and all that. So we can try going further using the group by clause. So when we use the group by clause, there are other clauses we can use to further filter the grouped data by using something like the having clause. And let's look at that. So we get the payments that each customer spent, and let's say we want to get only rows that the total spent is greater than 10,000. We use the having clause here. Having total spent greater than 10,000. Let's say 10,000. And when I run this, it will now return only the ones greater than 10,000 here. Then we say having greater than, let's even use 20,000 so we can see it, or 30,000. So we don't want to see all of these records here that is 22,000. So we want to get any total that is spent that is greater than 30,000. So it returns only the customers that the total spent is greater than 30,000. So we use the having clause to do that. And when you do group and you use having, you can still use other operators like having more than one condition. So the having is like the where clause, only that you use having for a grouped data, and you can use the and or condition to have more conditions than just one in the having clause like that. Okay, so you can have complex queries. You can play around with that to see that. But let's look at how we use other joins. Now we've looked at the inner join is what we use, and that's what you use most commonly. We have other joins for MySQL, and the left join is one of them. If you change from inner join to left join, what will happen is that you will get all of the records from the left table. So in this case, if we change this to left join, we'll get all the records from the customers table that have a matching record in the payments table, right? And if the payments table doesn't have any matching record with the customers table, it only returns everything from the customer table and ignores the payment table. For the right join, it does the reverse of the left. Returns everything from the payments table that has a matching column in the customers, and if the customers doesn't have any matching column here, it just returns only what is in the payment. And then we have something called the cross join. Now when we use cross join, we don't need a predicate, this on. Let's say we want to use the cross join to return all the rows from both tables. We're going to have several duplicates, and I will show you before I tell you where this is applicable. Let's say we want to select all from customers and we want to use cross join payment. Now what this will do is to give you all the columns from the customers table, multiply. It's just like you are doing a product of both tables, gives you multiply everything by the extra columns from the payments table, so you have more columns. So if the customers columns are a total of 5 and the payments table are a total of 4, you're going to have 9 columns of information. But now the rows now is going to be a product of both, so you're going to have a lot of duplicates, and it won't make sense in the kind of data we are using now. So for instance, we have these records. Now let me go to the end and you see, so we combine both tables. Now we use cross join payments. Now you can see this payment amounts duplicated is like multiplying by each like a matrix. Now this is not useful in this example, but where you find it useful in real world scenario is like you have maybe a HR system, for instance, and you want to have different shifts and all combination of shifts for the staff. You want to put those on day shift, night shift, you want the combination to be done. Now you can now have your table that has all of your employees and the table that have all of the available shifts, and then you do this cross join, it will give you all the combinations of shifts. Or you have like a products table, like we have here. We have a products table, and maybe the product is like different clothing line or different clothes, and you want to get something like so this is an e-commerce app, and you want to get like a catalog, a products catalog. So you want to get a possible combinations of all sizes that you have, all colors that you have, and all styles. That is where this kind of join is more useful. So this is where we end this lesson. In the live web conference, we're going to go deeper in the topics that we have discussed in these pre-recorded videos. Thank you and see you next week.